In the past few months since I've last updated, I'm glad to have caught up on a lot of rest while focusing on client work. Lately, in an attempt to ward off seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, I've been waking up around 7 a.m. each morning. Why the sudden change from my night owl nature? I'm trying to get the most of the sunlight each winter day. There's also something really special about the quality of light this time of day. One other update, at the beginning of September, I finally adopted a cat. It'd been about 8 months since Chow passed away, and I was ready to bring a new four-legged friend into my life. Her name is Sumi, and as of this footage, she's 11 months old. Sumi is named after the type of Japanese ink that I used when I first decided to become an illustrator. I'm also in love with her professorial single white whisker. So what's on our agenda today? I'm currently waiting to hear back from 2 different clients, so other than answering emails and doing some administrative work, let's do some sketching. Today I'm just going to sketch from a photo reference of some street fashion taken during London Fashion Week. A friend of mine is having a birthday party bake-off, so I'll be baking an old fave of mine, oatmeal raisin cookies. Not my best iteration, but not bad. Off to the party. So see you later. In addition to waking up early to ward off SAD, I've become a bit of a lamp girl. In this house, we don't like to turn on the big light. So we've got 2 whole mushroom lamps and an orb. Sumi, are you ready to Pilates it up? Of course she isn't. Ever since the pandemic, I like to follow along with workout videos. Even Sumi is getting her workout on. So young, but so full of promise. Well, back to work, shall we? This week I'll be working on a feature artwork and spot illustration for Exeter College magazine. Before I sketch, I like to take notes on the article draft that the art director provides. This one is about students from marginalized communities forming affinity groups in order to feel rooted and valued within school systems. My attention span really gets tested during the sketch phase of any client project, so from here I'm just going to work on a holiday card design that I'd like to mail to friends. I was inspired by some of Sumi's food thieving tendencies in drawing this tablescape scene. It's a habit of hers that I just can't seem to get her to break, even though I never feed her human food. Since long noodles represent longevity in a lot of cultures, I chose to have her steal a noodle to ring in the new year and wish good fortune on each of the people I send my cards to. You know, sometimes I get a little crazed rewatching footage of myself drawing digitally, simply from the sheer amount of times I use the undo shortcut. Can't exactly do that with traditional media, can we? This one's colors were inspired by risograph printing, but I'm just gonna print it the normal way since I'm ordering cards really late in the season and I need a fast turnaround. Sorry, Riso, I didn't plan well enough for you. Editing note, I'm just gonna briefly transport us to the present and show you how they look printed. Duller than it looks on the screen, but that's to be expected with the vibrancy of the colors I chose. And here's how the back looks. Okay, back to the past. Let's start slowing down for the evening. Time to make a big old pot of chili. Because it's chilly. Outside. I'm really testing the AI subtitle transcriber right here. Forgot I have a FaceTime this evening, so I'll just commit the sin of sins and talk with my mouth full. Every goddamn time. Every goddamn time! Fitting in some morning Sumi hugs before we have some breakfast playtime. We do this every morning, otherwise her energy levels become a bit too chaotic for this work from homer. For some reason, the holidays, or maybe the cold weather, makes me a bit nostalgic, so I like to indulge in things I've already read or watched that give me the feels. Right now, I'm midway through an old comfort read, The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I first read his Dark Materials, the series, when I was in the 7th and 8th grade, then again in my teens and my 20s. I don't think I've ever gotten over the envy of Lyra's world having animal counterparts that are walking, talking manifestations of a soul. But also, this series changed a lot about my worldview at a young age. And extra points because my 7th grade teacher fervently disapproved of it. This is a sketch that was approved for an illustration for Andscape. It's for an article about how when shopping for luxury brands, Black customers often consider a brand's history and relationship with race more so than their white counterparts. My intention with this illustration is for the main character to be at the center of the composition, her bright, vibrant colors pulling your eye in even though she is framed by larger in scale figures that represent white brands. Today I'm going to be working in Photoshop on flatting and getting the shapes and figures to a place where I want them, as well as establishing a base color. I'll work in the shading and texture another day. This is my egg outfit, replete with Santa Pug socks. Today is all about maximum comfort for maximum sketch output. Minor break to show my daughter that I care about her hobbies and interests.
What are they doing? Oh, where'd they go? Where are they? What? Come on. We gotta find them.
Okay, back to sketching. Often I tell myself that I take stretch breaks to offset the repetitive stress injuries that often arise from drawing many hours a day, but it's mostly because I lack focus. Here's how the sketches turned out. And due to the insight of post-production, I can show you how the finals turned out. Tonight, Sumi and I will be watching Les Miserables for the first time. Here you go.
If there's another way to go, I missed it 20 long years ago. My life was a war that could never be won.
Back to the finals for the Anscape article. Sumi will be working on whatever it is that she works on. One of the reasons I took half a year off from making vlogs was that beyond the amount of time and energy it takes to produce them, I often think about the messaging behind it all and what it provides to the people who watch them. That is to say, you. I mean, it's just a vlog after all, but sometimes I wonder if I'm painting too rosy a picture, so to speak, of illustration. The aim of my videos is to provide a calm, creative place for viewers to reside, in addition to slicing a tiny window into my life as an artist. And maybe this is just inherent to the landscape of social media, but I think that this often skews the perception of a largely overworked and underpaid industry. For example, the illustration you watched an artist draw in under 2 minutes to thoughtfully curated background music actually probably took several hours or even days to make, not to mention the effort it took to edit and promote. Beyond social media, the industry niche that I first got started in, editorial, meaning the illustrations in newspapers and magazines, has come under a lot of artist scrutiny this month in particular. While editorial used to be touted as a great place for professional artists to get their start and build up a name, the reality of it is that project rates for those gigs have not risen with inflation and remain the same price as 30 years ago. This despite many companies wanting to own full rights, aka work for hire, to the artwork, and one very well-respected news org in particular having reported holding $1 billion in its quarterly results. According to the Graphic Artists Guild Ethical Pricing and Guidelines, the book that I often refer to when I need guidance on pricing my work, illustrators now earn just 7.8% of what they made 70 plus years ago, when pricing is adjusted for inflation. Just 7.8%. Yes, technology has increased the speed at which we can output, and artists now compete for work at a global level. But when you square stats like those, it's hard not to feel like art is taken for granted. Don't get me wrong, it's not my intention to gripe, and I'd certainly choose this way of life over other options in a heartbeat. My point is, I don't want to mislead other people, especially aspiring artists, when I create these vlogs, particularly when this industry requires a lot of improvement. My intention is that by giving voice to these concerns alongside other artists, we can empower each other and hopefully be more fairly compensated for our efforts. Anyway, this is how the final illustration turned out. As I sit here, reading the third installment of Philip Pullman's series, The Amber Spyglass, and while drinking my matcha latte, a very unique and disturbing revelation has occurred to me. You see, my teaspoons have slowly gone missing, and their disappearances have been so quiet and so gradual that I haven't noticed until just today. But one by one, they just up and vanished. I'll admit, it's got me a little perturbed. I always keep my spoons in the same place, in my closet door, except when they're drying after a wash. The way I see it, either one of two things is happening. Either Sumi is somehow behind the teaspoon disappearances, or someone is sneaking into my apartment late at night just to steal teaspoons. I sure hope it's the former and not the latter, otherwise I feel a bad spoon arising. Either way, I only have 3 teaspoons left. But enough of that. Today's our office holiday party. Let's take this moment of celebration as an opportunity to draw some more. This time I'll be painting a Christmas gift for a friend who just recently moved into a new place and needs some art on her walls. In the background, Sumi and I have on a classic comfort watch, Kiki's delivery service, because let's be real, Kiki did it better than Santa. I said what I said. 2022 was a weird year for me, almost indistinguishable from the previous one. In 2023, one of my goals is to work hard, but for myself. Rather than directing all of my energy on an employer or clients, I want to really lavish my personal work with all my heart and spirit. And I want to bring back some of my old obsession with drawing just to draw. It's so hard to get that back when you make your hobby into a business. I also want to make more emotional work and weirder work. I want to draw more comics, and I'd like to try tabling for the first time. What are some of your dreams for the new year? Whether they're big or small, I have hope for us. But we'll see what 2023 holds in store. Sure looks cold out there, Sumi. Would hate to be outside on this 9-degree Fahrenheit day. Oh, and one last thing before we part ways. This year I had a chance to illustrate the transition art as part of Netflix's holiday collection. Thanks so much for watching. Stay warm and stay dry. Until next time.